A young talent is drawing attention in the draft, and experts can't stop comparing him to one of the most dominant wide receivers in the NFL. But does this comparison actually make sense, or are they exaggerating? Meanwhile, at the NFL Combine, a simple question sparked an interesting discussion among league coaches, and one name was unanimously picked in an unexpected challenge. What's behind these stories? You don't want to miss a single detail. So, hit the like button and let's get into the video. Emeka Egbuka keeps hearing the same name over and over when analysts try to draw a parallel to his game: Amon-Ra St. Brown. And if you follow the NFL, you know this is no ordinary comparison. St. Brown, the driving force behind the Lions' passing attack, turned the fact that he was only the 17th wide receiver selected in the 2021 draft into fuel for his success. The guy plays with an insane level of hunger and has already established himself as one of the league's most productive players. Now, Egbuka, one of this year's top prospects, is being constantly linked to St. Brown. The Ohio State wide receiver has solid numbers despite dealing with injuries in 2023. But when healthy, he has shown he can be a reliable playmaker, surpassing 1,000 yards and scoring 10 touchdowns in both 2021 and 2022. In last season's college playoffs, he was extremely consistent, recording at least 5 receptions in each of the 4 games and over 60 yards in 3 of them. At the NFL Combine, Egbuka revealed that he won't participate in physical tests, including the famous 40-yard dash, opting to do them at his pro day instead. That's not uncommon nowadays, as many prospects prefer performing these drills in a more controlled environment. But in the end, franchises care more about what he shows on tape and in individual meetings, and in that regard, Egbuka's film speaks for itself. Trevor Sikkema from Pro Football Focus pointed out that the St. Brown comparison has been thrown around a lot in recent years, but he believes this time it makes perfect sense. According to him, Egbuka is slightly bigger, 6'1", 205 lbs compared to St. Brown's 6'0", 202 lbs. But their playing styles are very similar. Both win matchups with precise route running and incredibly secure hands, whether lining up outside or in the slot. Max Chadwick, also from PFF, reinforced this idea, stating that Egbuka's floor and ceiling are both quite solid. Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network also placed Egbuka in the St. Brown mold, projecting him as a rookie ready to contribute immediately. He sees the former Buckeye as a polished and professional wide receiver who can step into any team and produce without major adjustments. Meanwhile, Ryan Wilson from CBS Sports predicted that Egbuka could be drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles with the 32nd overall pick and once again compared his style to St. Brown's, calling him a classic big slot receiver. Besides St. Brown, another name that comes up in comparisons is Jackson Smith-Njigba, another former Ohio State receiver now with the Seattle Seahawks. Either way, living up to St. Brown's level won't be easy. But if Egbuka lands in the right system, he could quickly become a reliable and productive target in the NFL. So, football fans, is this comparison fair, or are expectations being set too high? Drop your thoughts in the comments. But hold on, NFL coaches found themselves in an unusual competition at the Combine, and one name stood out as the clear favorite. The NFL Combine always brings up those random questions that lead to great stories, and this time was no different. CBS Sports reporter Aditi Kinkhabwala asked some NFL coaches who they think could put up the most reps on the bench press. For those unfamiliar, draft prospects face 225 pounds, about 102 kilograms, in the strength test, trying to lift it as many times as possible. And when it comes to strong coaches, one name came to almost everyone's mind: Dan Campbell. The Detroit Lions head coach, a former NFL tight end, has an imposing 6'5", 1.96 in, 265-pound, 120 kilos frame. Plus, the guy radiates intensity and energy, so it's not hard to imagine him cranking out bench press reps with ease. Of course, he wasn't the only name mentioned. New England Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel, another former NFL player, was also a strong candidate. The same goes for Houston Texans coach DeMeco Ryans, who still carries that commanding linebacker presence. Seattle Seahawks new head coach Mike McDonald even joked that he'd bet on himself in the contest. Meanwhile, Carolina Panthers' Dave Canales threw out an unexpected name, Sean McVay from the Los Angeles Rams. Raheem Morris from the Atlanta Falcons backed the pick, saying McVay has a compact build that could be surprising. But the best response came from Sean Payton, head coach of the Denver Broncos and a longtime acquaintance of Campbell. Payton picked Ryans as the strongest coach, but didn't miss the chance to take a playful jab at Campbell. I still go with D'Amico. I saw him earlier today. I've known Dan long enough to know there's an injury risk. I was in New York when we drafted him and followed him for a long time, Payton joked. At the end of the day, there's only one way to settle this debate once and for all. Put these guys on the bench press and see who can lift the most. And if there's one person who'd be up for the challenge in a heartbeat, it's Dan Campbell. If Egbuka truly follows in St. Brown's footsteps, he could become one of the NFL's top receivers. As for the coaches' competition, no one would be surprised if Dan Campbell accepted the challenge without hesitation. The Combine always delivers great stories, and this was one of the best. If you want to stay updated on everything NFL, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a thing.